Assalamu alaikum friends. I have taken this big push theory today, and this theory is a part of developmental economics which is taught mostly in the masters of economics. And the originator of this theory, as you can see in the PPT, this is taken from the slide share. The originator is Paul Rosenstein Rodin in 1943, and uh, he mm, he has given this work in his work Problems of Industrialization of East and Southeast Europe. And the Rodin think that there are some obstacles in development which are pervasive, which are present in all forms of all forms in everywhere in the economy. So that hampers the development. And as we all know that development is not a smooth process. It has some discontinuity. स्मूथ नहीं है, इसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स आती हैं, कुछ ऑब्स्टिकल्स रहती हैं, तो ये स्मूथ नहीं है, कुछ डिसकंटिन्यूटी रहती है। सो इसके लिए कि हम चाहते हैं कि हमारी इकोनॉमी तेजी से ग्रो करे फॉर फास्टर डेवलपमेंट, वी नीड अ बिग पुश मीन्स बिग इन्वेस्टमेंट, अ ह्यूज इन्वेस्टमेंट, अ मिनिमम रिक्वायर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट। Minimum means required investment for development, for faster development. And this big push it means to say that the whole investment should be done in all parts, all industries together, means at the same time. As we see in the PPT, the theory of big push emphasizes that underdeveloped countries require large dose of investment. It is mostly based on underdeveloped countries that require large investment and on the path of economic development from their present state of backwardness. Means to come out of the state of backwardness, they need large dose of investment. And a bit by bit investment means a small portion of investment is considered to be the wastage of resources. इसमें हमें बस सबसे ज़्यादा बहुत लार्ज डोज इन्वेस्टमेंट चाहिए जो कि हमें सारी इंडस्ट्रीज में एक साथ करना है, और छोटा सा इन्वेस्टमेंट उस वो जस्ट वेस्टेज होगा, उससे ग्रोथ पे कोई असर नहीं पड़ेगा डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज की। सो स्मॉल क्वांटिटी का इन्वेस्टमेंट इस थ्योरी के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है। और कुछ अजम्पशंस हैं इस थ्योरी के, जैसे कि एक्सटर्नल, इसमें इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल एग्जिस्ट करता है बिकॉज देयर आर लार्ज इन्वेस्टमेंट। जब लार्ज इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है तो इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल होता है, एज वी हैव ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसीज जिससे कि कॉस्ट कम हो जाती है। और दूसरा है ओलिगोपोलिस्टिक स्ट्रक्चर, कुछ फ्यू सेलर्स होते हैं इसमें। It's not a monopoly or not monopolistic, but it has a oligopolistic structure. So Rosenstein Rodin argued that the entire industry which is intended to be created should be treated and planned as a massive entity. जो पूरी इंडस्ट्री है वो हमें एक मैसिव, हमें उसको जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बताया कि इसमें हमें टुगेदर पूरी इंडस्ट्रीज में साथ इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है ओवरऑल। तो उसको हमें जैसे एक इंडस्ट्री, हमें पूरी इंडस्ट्री को एक मैसिव इंडस्ट्री लेके चलना है, एक फॉर्म लेके चलना है जिसमें हमें सारी इंडस्ट्रीज में मिल के इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है टुगेदर एट द सेम टाइम। ही सपोर्ट दिस आर्गुमेंट बाय स्टेटिंग दैट द सोशल मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट एक इन्वेस्टमेंट का वो हमेशा डिफरेंट होता है उसके पास प्राइवेट मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट से, क्योंकि प्राइवेट में उनका प्रॉफिट मोटिव होता है जबकि सोशल में प्रॉफिट मोटिव नहीं होता है। और सोशल मार्जिनल प्रोडक्ट इसीलिए भी बोला है क्योंकि दिस थ्योरी इज मीन्स द लार्ज इन्वेस्टमेंट की जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं वो कहाँ से आएगा, एक अंडर डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में। वो पॉसिबल नहीं है एक अंडर डेवलप्ड कंट्री के लिए कि वो बहुत लार्ज डोज इन्वेस्टमेंट करे, वो भी सारी इंडस्ट्रीज में एक साथ। कहाँ से लाएगा पैसा, तो वो प्राइवेट की इट इज़ बियॉन्ड द रीच ऑफ द प्राइवेट। एंड अगर प्राइवेट के पास है भी तब भी वो नहीं करेगा बिकॉज इट इज़ प्राइवेट इज मोस्टली प्रॉफिट मोटिव। सो वाई ही और शी मतलब वो इसमें इन्वेस्ट क्यों करेगा। सो इसीलिए देयर require the role of the government which is most important in this theory. So this first is the government role, that is important part of this theory, main element of this theory. And second is the saving is also an important part. Third is the foreign capital, and fourth is foreign trade. So foreign capital and foreign trade also important, means that will increase the economy, and that will bring some money from abroad, that may help in large investment, but for an underdeveloped country it is not possible. So now further, when a group of industries are planned together according to their social marginal product, the rate of growth of economy is greater than it would have been otherwise. Now next slide. Rodon, as I have discussed, that this theory has assumption of economies of scale and oligopolistic structure. So this theory also emphasizes on external economies. जब भी हम large investment करते हैं तब external economies exist होते हैं, क्योंकि हम सारी industries में साथ investment करेंगे, जिससे कि हमारी operational efficiencies बढ़ेंगी, and we have more advantage, so it will reduce the cost of production, and the goods are available at some cheap rate. So some external economies will be available in this to be realized through industrialization, and its advocacy of a big push in the form of high minimum amount of industrial investment. High minimum means high required amount of investment in order to jump over economic obstacles to development, because there are lots of obstacles in underdeveloped countries. So हमको इतना पैसा इन्वेस्ट करना है कि वो ऑब्स्टेकल्स उसको हमें हम उसको जंप कर जाए, वो ऑब्स्टेकल्स पीछे रह जाए. So we need a large investment to come out of the backwardness. A big push or a critical minimum effort is believed necessary to break out of the low level of equilibrium trap, and above 10% of national income is to be invested for takeoff as industry as the leading sector. बिग पुश में ये है कि सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग ग्रोथ हम नहीं कंसिडर करते, वी नीड अ लार्ज इन्वेस्टमेंट. और लार्ज इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना होना चाहिए? हमारी नेशनल इनकम से 10% से ज़्यादा, तब हम उस जिससे कि इंडस्ट्री को हम टेक ऑफ करना चाहते हैं एक अच्छी ग्रोथ के साथ. अब रोल ऑफ स्टेट फॉर बिग पुश, जैसे मैं आपको पहले बताया कि गवर्नमेंट रोल इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, बिकॉज प्राइवेट can't can't invest in such a large amount, and large scale program of industrialization advocated by this model requires huge investment which are beyond the means of the private sector. So investment in infrastructure and basic industries like power, transport, communication is lumpy and has long gestation period. The role of the state in this theory is therefore critical for investment in social overhead capital. तो स्टेट का रोल बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, स्पेशली इन्वेस्टमेंट में सोशल ओवरहेड कैपिटल की. सोशल ओवरहेड कैपिटल मीन्स इन्वेस्टमेंट इन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन कम्युनिकेशन. तो उसको उसके डेवलपमेंट के लिए उसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट बहुत ज़रूरी है, जिसके लिए इतना पैसा वो एक प्राइवेट की मीन्स द प्राइवेट सेक्टर की means it is beyond the reach of the private sector, so only the government can invest such, such a large amount in the sector, in the industries simultaneously. So even, and here again we see that if a private had some resources to invest, it would not do so, as it is driven by private motive, profit motive, sorry. सो अगर प्राइवेट के पास इतना पैसा है तब भी वो ऐसा नहीं करेगी, क्योंकि वो प्रॉफिट मोटिव उसका मेन पर्पस होता है, नॉट सोशल वेलफेयर. मैनी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आर प्रॉफिटेबल इन टर्म्स ऑफ सोशल मार्जिनल नेट प्रोडक्ट, बट नॉट इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्राइवेट मार्जिनल नेट प्रोडक्ट. So due to this, there is no incentive for individual entrepreneurs to invest and take advantage of external economies. इसीलिए इसमें इंडिविजुअल एंटरप्रेन्योर्स का कोई एडवांटेज नहीं ले सकते वो एक्सटर्नल इकोनॉमीज का. नाउ रोसेस्टन रॉडन हैज प्रेजेंटेड थ्री, वी नो that two So the Rosenstein-Rodin has presented three types of indivisibilities and economies of scale. Indivisibilities mean some inappropriateness, something which can't be divided. It can also be said. But in economics, we can see that it is some inappropriateness, some obstacles in the way of development. So he has presented three types of indivisibilities and economies of scale. The first one is indivisibilities in production function. Means when there are so many industries which are established and the economy established, um, there are the factors of production, goods, techniques of production have increased. So economies of scale would increase. That means अगर factors of production बढ़ेगा, good बढ़ेगा, technology बढ़ेगी, so we can say the economies of scale would increase. It would improve. तो जब इंडस्ट्रीज बढ़ेंगी तो बहुत सारी फैक्टर्स, बहुत सारी चीज़ें, हमको फैसिलिटीज भी बढ़ जाएंगी. एंड रॉडन गिव्स मोर इम्पोर्टेंस टू इकोनॉमीज, जिससे कि जिससे जो कि राइज होता है जब सोशल ओवरहेड कैपिटल इंक्रीज होता है, इम्प्रूव होता है, स्टैब्लिश होता है. सोशल ओवरहेड कैपिटल मीन्स देयर कम्युनिकेशन, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर and some energy resources. This comes under social overhead capital. When it would establish, there would be increase in the economies of scale. There would increase some operational efficiencies. So they all contribute to development indirectly. The transportation would help, the communication would help, energy would help. So it would all together, when more industries would establish, they would help each other. There would be interdependent industries, and this is through which this as we know, when more industries would establish, more facilities, there would be more facilities, more services of transport, so cost would reduce. And the in this is how the development would enhance. Now next slide that says uh, the indivisibilities of demand. Means the indivisibilities of demand, that means the complementarity with respect to demand. That means uh, as more industries would establish, so more investment would be made. So to make investment in one project, that is risky. So when the demand for goods is limited, एक प्रोजेक्ट में इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तो वो रिस्की है. लेकिन जब इन्वेस्टमेंट हम बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज में करेंगे, जैसे कि हमें मालूम है कि अनडेवलप्ड कंट्री में डिमांड गुड्स की बहुत कम होती है, इनकम भी कम होती है लोगों की. When demand for goods and services is limited due to lower income, in other words, indivisibilities of demand require that at least certain amount of investment be made in so many industries which could mutually support each other. यहाँ म्यूचुअली सपोर्ट ईच अदर मीन्स ये, यहाँ पे हम इंटरडिपेंडेंट इंडस्ट्रीज की बात कर रहे हैं. जो इंडस्ट्रीज हम इतना मार्केट को एक्सटेंड करें जिससे कि जो हमारी मार्केट में हमारा डिमांड नहीं है वो बढ़ जाए. जैसे अगर इसका मतलब है कि सिंगल इंडस्ट्री जो है वो नहीं करती कोई डिमांड, उससे डिमांड क्रिएट ही नहीं होता. अगर सिंगल इंडस्ट्री, स्पेशली अगर शू इंडस्ट्री है, तो शू वर्कर्स सिर्फ शू खरीदेंगे. कब तक शू खरीदेंगे? दे डोंट हैव सो मच इनकम दैट दे इन्वेस्ट ऑन शूज अगेन एंड अगेन. So there is limited demand when only one industry. So if so many more industries like cloth industry and other industries established, so the workers of the shoe industry will purchase the clothes. The workers of the cloth industry will purchase the shoe. So demand would increase, and both the industries would help each other, would support each other, and there would be interdependent industries. This is complementarity of demand. The demand would increase, and with increase in industries, the employment will increase. As employment increase, the income increase. The income increase, the saving increase. So, in this way, these things will help in development, and the problem of limited market will be solved if more investment is made in some more industries, with establishment of industries. So, now it is explained through a figure. Let's see the figure. Now, as we see in the figure, MR1, see the graph MR1 and D1 and the marginal cost MC. So MR1 and D1 is the average revenue curve. So when the marginal cost and average marginal revenue cut, and they reach the equilibrium E1 and they cut the marginal cost at A, we see average cost, that is OC, is higher than OC. See OC, that is average cost, that is higher than D1 at B at D1. See the B at D1. So this is OP1 price. We OP4 is more than OP1. Sorry, OC, that is our average cost, and OP1 is our average revenue. D1 is our average revenue curve. So at point B, at the D1, we have average revenue. So OP1 is our average revenue cost. Now, as we see that average cost is more than average revenue, it means that the industry is incurring losses. So the loss is CABP1, that is a darker shaded portion, is our loss. When after the establishment of some industries, after increasing the demand and quantity production, especially as we see, if we increase the quantity from Q1 to Q4, that is approx around 4 times if we increase the production. So in the graph MR4 and D4 is average revenue. So now see the average cost and average revenue. Average revenue at D4 and average cost is at S. At S is average cost and at R is average revenue. Now the revenue is more than the cost. At, as we see at R, average revenue, that is the price OP4, which is more than OS, while at S, OP1, which is our average cost. Now the average cost is low while the average revenue is higher. Now the industry is incurring, that means the industry has more revenue than cost. It means our losses now converting into profit. So the greater investment, when we spend more, when we invest more to for production of more goods and more industries, so our losses have converted into profit with the economies of scale. So now this is how our losses have converted with the greater investment. So greater investment in so many industries may convert the losses into profit. Now the third one is the indivisibility in supply of savings. As a underdeveloped country में लोगों के पास पैसा नहीं होता जो वो सेव करें. So when they don't have a higher income, so they don't have higher savings. A specific amount of investment can be made in the presence of specific savings. जब स्पेसिफिक इन्वेस्टमेंट हम जब भी करेंगे जब स्पेसिफिक एक अमाउंट ऑफ सेविंग होगा, लेकिन अंडर डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में लोगों के पास सेविंग ही नहीं है. तो इन इंडिविजिबिलिटीज और इन ऑब्स्टेकल्स की प्रेजेंस में नॉन एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ एक्सटर्नल इकोनॉमीज ओनली अ बिग पुश. और एक्सटर्नल इकोनॉमीज नहीं, इतनी ऑब्स्टेकल्स में एक्सटर्नल इकोनॉमीज एमर्ज नहीं होती. सो इस एक अनडेवलप्ड कंट्रीज में एक्सटर्नल इकोनॉमीज का होना मुश्किल है. सो एक बिग पुश ही एक ऐसा सॉल्यूशन है that can help the economy to come out of the doldrum of poverty, that can solve the vicious circle of poverty with a huge amount of investment to remove the obstacles in the way of economic development. So in this, after the some economists have also explained some more indivisibility, like psychological indivisibility also, which is means environment in which a development takes place should be created so that the pupil can adapt to that environment. एक ऐसा environment create हो जिससे कि लोग उस environment को accept कर सकें. तो ये एक psychological indivisibility भी कुछ economics ने explain किया है. तो लेकिन इसमें इन ऑब्स्टेकल्स की वजह से इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट हैम्पर होता है जिनको हमें रिमूव करना. सो हमने थ्योरी में क्या देखा, द हमने देखा कि बिग पुश थ्योरी में जो मेन एलिमेंट है वो है गवर्नमेंट रोल, सेकंड है सेविंग, थर्ड है फॉरेन कैपिटल और फॉरेन ट्रेड, कि हमें लोन लेना है, अगर फॉरेन कैपिटल नहीं है तो देयर वुड बी प्रॉब्लम, फॉरेन ट्रेड नहीं है देयर वुड बी प्रॉब्लम, savings nahi hai, the push wouldn't work, and government role also the most important. The four elements is so important. So government role, second is saving, third is foreign capital, and fourth is the foreign trade. So keep these in mind. These four are more important. This and the third is that what is the need of the big push? Why big push we need? First is due to the urbanization effect, as there occurs urbanization, second is infrastructure effect, and third is training effect, and fourth is intertemporal effect. So these four that is are important. Now let's see the criticism or demerits of the big push theory. First demerit we see. Now first one is a merit. Let's see the merit first. So in the way of economic development we see there is a big amount of investment will solve the problem of limited market, as you have seen. जितना बिकॉज ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट अगर हम करेंगे तो इससे हमारी बिग जो लिमिटेड मार्केट की प्रॉब्लम है वो दूर हो जाएगी। हमने देखा था फिगर में कि ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट से, ज़्यादा प्रोडक्शन से, मोर इंडस्ट्रीज के इस्टेब्लिशमेंट से हमारी इकोनॉमी में लॉसेस कन्वर्ट हो गए थे प्रॉफिट में। So with the greater investment, the losses could be has been converted into profit. So this is the merit of this theory, as and such heavy amount of investment will become helpful for economic growth. So despite this merit, there are many more demerits also. Now let's see the demerits. First one is negligible economies in export and import substitute sectors. Means a big push theory may be justified on external economies. There are lack of infrastructure, so big investment will not be successful, and so the export sector, especially in undeveloped countries, the mostly the imports are higher than export, so income mostly go abroad rather than come to a country. So there is not so profit. So in this, the negligible economies in export and import and infrastructure, we don't have a means in case of undeveloped countries the infrastructure is lacking, and so economies also didn't arise. Second is negligible economies from cost reducing investment, as we see when more investment is done in economies, external economies will arise, that will lead to reduction in the cost, but that doesn't happen, as in undeveloped countries goods which are concerned for the public welfare hardly yield any external economy. Moreover, the investment which is aimed at reducing cost does not yield economies. तो पब्लिक वेलफेयर में एक्सटर्नल इकोनॉमी नहीं एमर्ज होता, जिससे कि हमारी कॉस्ट पर कोई असर नहीं होता है। सो इट्स यूजलेस for a developed country. Now the third is that this theory neglect the investment in agriculture. So this theory also neglect investment in agriculture, and as it led more emphasis on investment in infrastructure and industries, while it neglect the agriculture and allied sector, which is the major or largest sector in the developing or underdeveloped country. And the fourth one is the inflationary pressure, which means from where the fund will come. First problem of underdeveloped country, and if an IMF or the World Bank give fund, so how it will return, and if it may lead to a debt trap, or it may lead to an inflation in the economy. If it print note also, so it will also create a problem. Now, and if it takes loan, then there will be some administrative colonization of the economy. So there are more problems in undeveloped countries. Fifth one is the administrative and institutional difficulties. This theory also stresses upon the state investment to remove deficiency of capital. As I have said, I have told you that there are four major elements. First is government role, second is the foreign saving, and third is foreign capital, fourth is foreign trade. So here the capital, there is deficiency. Mm, this theory stresses upon state investment to remove deficiency of capital. So when there is deficiency of capital, so but when there are a lot of problem within the machinery, as there are a lot of corruption in the economy, public and private compete each other rather than helping each other, rather than supporting each other, they compete. So this is the problem. This is a major problem. There are corruption, which is also engulfing the economy. So there will not be the balanced growth in the economy. And sixth one is, it is not a historical fact. Big push theory is a recipe for underdeveloped countries, but it has not been derived on the basis of historical experience. There has not been any experience that the big push theory has been applied in the past. So this theory lacks the historical evidences and the facts. This is all about the big push theory. Now thank you for watching. Subscribe my channel, and inshallah next time I will come with a new theory. Thank you so much. Good night.